Shalom to the elect of Israel, to the whole flock of Israel, you Hebrew Israelites, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, West Indians, and Haitians. Gotta give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bahashem Yahushua. The Most High, the Heavenly Father, his Hebrew name is Yahweh. Not Yahweh, not Jehovah, not God, not Elohim, not Most High, not Lord, not Yah, not Jah, not Ahai, not Allah, not Abba, not Yahuwah, not Hashem, not Yahweh, Haveh, Vaveh. It's Yahweh. And his only begotten son name in the Hebrew is Yahushua. Not Yahshua, not Yeshua, not Jesus Christos, not Jesus Christ, not Serapis Christos, not Yeshua, not Yehoshua, not Yahusha, not Jesus Christos. It's Yahushua. So we got to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushua, Bahashem Rekah Kodash. Double honors to the apostles, the elder bishop and elders of great millstone who rule well, who teach well, who are the apostles and elders of all of Israel, whether accepted or not. In a sense, this salutation to all the Akim believing this truth and pushing this truth with the four winds of the earth. The entire world shedding light to the hopeful elect. Shalom to the Akwath who are listening learner. You feel sis who are listening learner. I'm Isaiah from Jim Orlando, Camp Prophet of Doom, coming into another lesson in truth, facts, faith, and edification. Another day of edification, Lord was be edified. So I'm going to title this lesson, Why Jew or Greek in the Roman Empire, but not Jew or Roman in the Roman Empire? Why does it mention the Greeks in the New Testament, which was during the time of the Roman Empire, but it don't mention neither Jew nor Roman? Why is the word Greek in the New Testament? I was making this point the other day in the lesson. I titled, Christianity Proves That It's Only Trying to Save the So-Called White People. Because you got to go back and look at who are the original Greeks in the New Testament. And the point I was making in that lesson that I titled, Christianity Proves That It's Only Trying to Save the So-Called White People. Because the original Greeks was to go back to the sons of Japheth. Noah's second oldest son was named Japheth. Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Shem, Japheth, and Ham. The Shem being the second oldest and Ham being the youngest. So the original Greeks are the sons of Japheth, not the so-called white man. But why is the word Greek in the New Testament? And when you look at, I was looking at these different articles, they were saying, some of the articles say, they saying either Jew nor Greek because it doesn't matter if you're an Israelite or a heathen. That's basically why they're using the word Greek. No. Why is they mentioning the Greeks in the Roman Empire? Why would they do that? It don't make sense. And I asked this dude, came up to camp earlier this year. It was either earlier this year, I think it was at the beginning of this year, maybe March, maybe February, March, came to camp. And I asked him, because he mentioned it said neither Jew nor Greek, and I asked him, who are the Greeks? And then he said it doesn't matter who the Greeks is. Well, why would you mention who are the Greeks? But this guy, this young guy, why is Greek in the New Testament, man? And why is it neither Jew nor Greek in the Roman Empire, but it don't say neither Jew nor Roman? Who are the original Greeks? So I was just looking at some different articles, and I saw this one. And it's titled, What Was the Origin of the Greeks According to the Bible? So it reads, the Bible extensively discusses the origins of nations. For example, and this is important, man. People say it doesn't matter. It do matter. It does matter. The Lord created 18 nations, and they are the account of this is in the Bible for a reason. The Bible extensively discusses the origins of nations. For example, it contains the story of the Tower of Babel, in which God causes various languages to appear, which everybody spoke the Paleo Hebrew, but the Lord just broke it up because everybody speaks some form of Hebrew. However, does the Bible specifically reveal anything about the origins of the Greeks? The answer is that it does. Let's take a look at what this origin was and how it relates to the Greeks' own traditions. Table of Nations. In chapter 10 of the book of Genesis, we find a detailed description of the numerous descendants of Noah after the flood, according to the Bible. Noah had 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. But what is this on the screen? That's a booger wolf there. Ooh, a monster. It say all nations were descended. All nations were descended from one of these 3 sons. This detailed table of nations provides the names of the sons, grandsons, and great-grandsons of these 3 forefathers. However, it does not explicitly say where each of them settled. Nonetheless, the names of these individuals are, in many cases, similar or even identical to the names that the ancient Hebrews used for various nations. Therefore, the logical conclusion is that a given nation was believed to be descended from the person bearing its name in the Table of Nations. For example, one of Japheth's sons was Ashur. Since this was also the name that the Hebrews used for the Assyrians, we could logically understand that Ashur was considered to be the, Ephonus, let's look this word up, Salakia. I don't want to misquote this. What is it here? See if I can go to Google. Let's go back. Hold on here. Bear with me. See if I can do this. Bear with me here. I want to pronounce this right. See if I can pull it up here. Bear with me. Just to make sure how it's pronounced. Eponymous. Okay, say we can logically understand that Ashur was considered to be the eponymous forefather of that nation, the forefather of the Greeks in the Bible. With these basic facts out of the way, what does the Bible claim regarding the descendant of the Greeks? By looking at the Table of Nations in the Bible, it immediately becomes clear that the origin of the European nations, including the Greeks, lies with Japheth. Japheth is described as having 7 sons. One of them is particularly closely associated with the European nations of the Mediterranean. His name is Javan, which is Yawan in the Hebrew. Scholars almost universally agree that Javan is the Hebrew name for the Greeks. A version, which is Yahweh, a version of this same term appears in Assyrian records as Jawanu. This is used as a destination for the Greeks. Therefore, this is the origin of the Greeks according to the Bible. They were descendants of Javan, son of Japheth, who was the son of Noah. Javan to the Greeks, Homer, and whatever it is, he settled Hesiod, both of the 7th century BC, also used this as a name for the Greeks. Homer, for example, used the form Iones, which I'm going to show you in the blue letter, since this is particularly at the very beginning of Greek literature. It shows that it was an early term for the Greeks. So yeah, I want to show this. Interestingly, the Greeks themselves considered one of their most significant forefathers to have been a figure named Ion. The earlier form of this name was Ion. Scholars believe that the even earlier form was Iwan, also identical to Hebrew spelling in Javan, which is Yawan, right? The origin of the Greeks among Javan's son in the Bible. The situation is nonetheless slightly more complicated than this. The Bible also provides the names of Javan's 4 sons. One of them was Tarshish. This was the name that the Hebrews used in Iberia, implying that he was the forefather of those who lived in that area. Therefore, according to the Bible, Javan was not simply the forefather of the Greeks. Other nations, as well as the Greeks, were descendants from him. Hence, which son of Javan was actually the ancestor of the Greeks. The answer may well be that 3 out of the 4 sons of Javan were viewed as being a collective ancestor of the Greeks. However, the primary ancestor may have been the son named Elisha. Many commentators have suggested a connection between this name and Hellas, the historical Greek name for Greece itself. Now, let me show you this, because they line this up with the Bible. Let's go to the blue letter. When you go to Genesis 10, right, it reads, "Now these are the generations of the sons of Noah, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, and unto them were the sons born after the flood. The son of Japheth were Gomer and Magog, and Medea, and Javan, and Tubal, and Meshach, and Tyrus." When you go here, right, to Javan, just click on Javan. I just want to show you this. They mentioned the name Ion in the article, right here. See it say Javan, which is your one. See it Iona or Greece. See, Greece, Iona, Ionians. See, Grecia, Greece. See it? It's a i.e. hot and active. Yawan, Javan, the name of a son of Joktan and of the race Ionians, i.e. Greeks, descendants from him with their territory also of a place in Arabia. See? And when you go to the Medea is how you pronounce Medea. Those are what they call the Media. When you go to Javan's sons, not Javan's, Japheth's sons right here. This one here. Medea, H4074. She said the Medes. See? Land inhabited by the descendants of Japheth located northwest of Persia, proper south and southwest of Caspian Sea, east of Armenia and Assyria, and west and northwest of the Great Salt Desert of Aram. See? And what you got to understand is Esau conquered, the so-called white man conquered all these lands, man. See, it called Japheth not Japhet, Javan. In the article, it called Javan the original Europeans, man. Let's see. It called Javan the original Europeans in the article. What does the so-called white man call himself today? Europeans, man. Greece, man. Ionians, man. Okay? Greeks, man. Let's go back to the article. In the article, they said here, Japhet is described, Salakia. Come on, man. They say here, Japhet, what was that? Japhet is described as having 7 sons. One of them is particularly closely associated with the Europeans, nations of the Mediterranean. His name is Javan. See, the original Europeans are the sons of Japhet. So why does the scripture say, oh, let me go here. In what's this, Romans 10. It's Romans 10. But these people don't have no understanding, man. Right here. Why would it say here in Romans 10 and 12? For there is no difference between the Jew and the Greek. For the same Lord over all is rich unto all that call upon him. Why does it say, for there is no difference between the Jew and the Greek? Why is that there? Because they both, this Jew and this Greek here is either Judah, Benjamin, or Levi, man. When you read in Acts 10, when it talks about, not Acts 10, so like Acts 2, even Acts 10 too, because Acts 10 talks about Cornelius, right? You got Cornelius, you got Titus, right? Titus' father was a Greek, which was, his father either Judah, Benjamin, or Levi, man. And as I was explaining this to this girl that came to the camp last Saturday, and she knew, let me go to this. She knew this when I mentioned this. This is Ezra 1 in verse 5. Look at this. Ezra 1 and 5. Then rose up the chief of the fathers of Judah and Benjamin, and the priests and the Levites, with all them whose spirit God had raised to go up to build the house of the Lord, which is in Jerusalem. I'm getting the regular because I got to highlight it. Let's go here. Why? So I read this, so I mentioned this to her, and she said, yeah, Judah, Benjamin, Levi was in captivity under the Babylonians, right? Ezra 1 and 5. Then rose up the chief of the fathers of Judah and Benjamin, and the priests and the Levites. So these are the three, which it said, with all them whose spirit God had raised to go up to build a house of Yahweh, which is in Jerusalem. So now, I said, when the Medes and Persians took over, right? What happened to Judah, Benjamin, Levi? She said, and she agreed, she said that they were still under the rulership of the Medes and Persians. When Darius came in and took over, when the Persian Medes took over Babylon. So this is Daniel 2 and 35 it reads. I'm starting at 38. So this is the dream, right, that Daniel was telling Nebuchadnezzar. This is Daniel 2 and 36. It reads, this is the dream, and we would tell the interpretation thereof before the king. Thou, O king, art the king of kings, for the God of heaven hath given thee a kingdom, power and strength and glory. And whithersoever the children of men dwell, the beasts of the field and the fowls of the heaven have he given into thy hand, and have made thee ruler over them all. Thou art this head of gold. This is the Babylonian Empire. This is Daniel, I'm telling Nebuchadnezzar, he's the head of gold. And after thee shall rise another kingdom inferior to thee, That'll be the Medes and Persians. And another third kingdom of brass, which shall bear rule over all the earth. And the fourth kingdom shall be as strong as iron, for as much as iron breaketh in pieces and subdueth all things, and as iron that breaketh in, and as iron that breaketh all these, shall it break in pieces and bruise. So, verse 39, they say, and after thee shall rise another kingdom inferior to thee, which was the Medes and Persians, and another third kingdom of brass, which shall bear rule over all the earth. So I quoted this to her, and she said, yeah. So I said, when the Medes and Persians took over, right, Judah, Benjamin, Levi was still in captivity, right? It just transitioned from Babylon to the Medes. So I said, why is it mentioning in Daniel 2, 7, and 8 about the Greek Empire? Now this is Daniel 7. And I'm going to start at verse 2. It reads, Daniel spake and said, I saw in my vision by night. I saw in my vision by night, and behold, the four winds of heaven strove upon the great sea. And four great beasts came up from the sea, diverse one from another. The first was like a lion, and had eagle's wings. I beheld till the wings thereof were plucked, and it was lifted up from the earth, and made to stand upon the feet as a man, and a man's heart was given unto it, and a man's heart was given to it. So this is the Babylonian Empire. The wings plucked off was the Nebuchadnezzar's father was a Syrian, right? That's why it's known as the Neo-Babylonian Empire, because the Syrian Empire, that was with the wings that fell off. Because Nebuchadnezzar's father was a Syrian. So it reads, and behold, another beast, a second, like to a bear. And it raised up itself on one side, and it had 3 ribs in the mouth of it between the teeth. This bear, the 3 ribs is Babylon, Egypt, and Lydia being conquered by this bear. It reads, and behold, another beast is second like to a bear, and it raised up itself on one side, and it had 3 ribs in the mouth of it between the teeth of it, and they said thus unto it, arise, devour much flesh. So this bear first was the Medes, but the Persians. So the Persians and Medes came together. After this I beheld, and lo, it said, and after this I beheld, and lo, another like unto a leopard, like a leopard, which had upon the back of it 4 wings of a fowl. The beast had also 4 heads, and dominion was given to it. So here is the third kingdom. This said the leopard, which is the Greeks. Like it said in Daniel 2, it said a third kingdom of brass, which is the Greeks. Now here in Daniel 8, this whole chapter goes all the way till you get here to verse 10. It goes all the way to, when you get to verse 10, it goes into Antiochus Epiphanes. So right here it say, read verse 8. This is Daniel's 8 and 8. This is going into, matter of fact, let's read some of this. I just want to make this point. Now this is the second kingdom, the Medes and Persians, going against the third kingdom, which is the Greeks, which is Alexander. Now I say right here, Daniel 8 and 5. And as I was considering, behold, an he-goat came from the west on the face of the whole earth, and touched not the ground. And the goat had a noble horn between his eyes. And he came to the ram that had 2 horns. This ram is the Medes and Persians. The 2 horns represents the Medes and Persians. And he came to the ram that had 2 horns, which I had seen standing before the river, and ran upon him in the fury of his power. And I saw him come close unto the ram, and was moved with choler against him, and smote the ram, and brake his 2 horns. And there was no power in the ram to stand before him, but he cast him down to the ground, and stamped upon him, and there was none that could deliver the ram out of his hand. Therefore the he-goat waxed very great, and when he was grown, the great horn was broken. This is when Alexander died. He reigned 12 years, and for him he conquered the whole known world in 12 years, man. And for it came up 4 noble ones towards the 4 winds of heaven. This is 4 generals. And not of one of them came forth a little horn, which waxed exceedingly great towards the south, and towards the east, and towards the pleasant land, which are my Antiochus Epiphanes. And it waxed great even to the host of heaven, and it cast down some of the hosts and of the stars to the ground, and stamped upon them. Just like it said in Revelation 12. The Roman Empire cast the stars to the ground, just like the Greek Empire did. So right here, it's telling you about the he-goat going against the ram. This was Alexander going against Darius. Okay, the Medes and Persian Empire. So here we see again the Greek Empire. This is Daniel 2, 7, and 8. It mentions the Greek Empire. So my point is, who is these Greeks in the New Testament? Is it the sons of Japhet, the original Greeks? Or is it talking about the so-called white people? Because why does it say, Colossians 3 and 11, where there is neither Greek nor Jew, circumcision nor uncircumcision, barbarian, Scythian, bond nor free, but Mashiach is all and in all. Who is this Greek nor Jew right here? Circumcision or non-uncircumcision, barbarian, Scythian. Who are the barbarians and the Scythians? Go look it up. It was Israelites. What you got to understand, in this time, this was Judah, Benjamin, and Levi in the Roman captivity. And I asked this girl last Saturday, what can we read about the Greek Empire? If it's in Daniel 2, 7, 8, and I quoted to her, and it's in Daniel 11 about the Greek Empire. When you go to Daniel 11, the breakdown of those kings fighting, that was the Greek Empire, man. So I asked her, what can we read about the Greek Empire? And it didn't dawn on me until after that was over with. And I've been thinking about this ever since, man. Cause when you in the heat of the battle, certain precepts you forget about. Cause I was thinking about a lot she mentioned that I wish I could have got precepts on. Cause I wanted to ask her about the virgin birth. Cause I had the brother to read Galatians 4 and 4, right? In Galatians 4 and 4 it reads, God sent forth his son. It say in the fullness of time, God sent forth his son, made of a woman, made under the law, to redeem them that were under the law. I want to ask a Christian, what does it mean when they say God sent forth his son, made of a woman, made under the law? What does that mean? What does it mean when the Lord say he was made under the law? You got to go back to Leviticus 12 for that. Because if a woman conceives seed and bear a man-child, that's the law that Yahushua came through. He came from the loins of Joseph, man. Joseph put his sperm in Mary. And I wanted to ask her that. There was a lot of questions I wanted to ask. And the apostle had been saying, hey, ask them Christians some questions. And the head brother, we usually do. But, she came up humble and we dealt with it because we had them other knuckleheads there. And the one other Jake that was there, he asked a lot of questions. We answered him. But yeah, man, what does it mean for the Lord to send forth his son, made of a woman, made under the law? To be made under the law, meaning you had to come forth of your father's seed. Your father put his rod and planted his seed in your mother. That's what Joseph did to Mary, man. But anyway, so you got to think about, right, this Jew nor Greek. Why is the word Greek in the New Testament, man? Is it the sons of Japhet? Because the original Greeks, before the so-called white man started calling himself Greeks, it was the sons of Japhet, man. This is the point I'm making. This is Acts 2 and 1. And when the day of Pentecost was fully come, They were all with one accord in one place, and suddenly there came a sound from the heaven as of a rushing mighty wind, and it filled all the house where they were sitting. And there appeared unto them cloven tongues like as of fire, and it sat upon each of them, and they were all filled with the Holy Spirit, and began to speak with other tongues as the Spirit gave them utterance. And there were dwelling at Jerusalem Jews, devout men, out of every nation under heaven. It don't say Greeks right here. It's saying there were dwelling at Jerusalem Jews, devout men, out of every nation under heaven. Right? Now, when this was noised abroad, the multitude came together and were confounded, because that every man heard them speak in his own language. And they were all amazed and marveled, saying one to another, Behold, are not all these which speak Galileans? And how hear we every man in our own tongue wherein we were born, Parthians and Medes and Elamites, and the dwellers in Mesopotamia and in Judea and Cappadocia? When you look up the rest of the sons of Japheth, some of the sons of, I forget one of the sons of Japheth, but they occupied the land of Cappadocia, in Pontus, in Asia, Phrygia, and Pamphylia, in Egypt, and in the parts of Libya about Cyrene. Who was the man that helped Yahushua take the cross? His name was Simon, a Cyrenian. And strangers of Rome, Jews and proselytes, Cretes and Arabians, we do hear them speak in our tongue the wonderful works of God. Who is all these men? Who is this? It said right here, and there were dwelling in Jerusalem Jews, devout men, out of every nation under heaven. It was Judah, Benjamin, and Levi that came from every nation under heaven. Hold on. When you go to Acts 10, what did it say about Cornelius? Let's read it here. Acts 10, verse 1 and 2. There was a certain man in Caesarea. Where's Caesarea at? Called Cornelius, a centurion of the band called the Italian band. Italy, right? Rome. Didn't it just say in Acts 2? A devout man and one that feared God with all his house, which gave much alms to the people and prayed to God always. It say, there was a certain man in Caesarea called Cornelius, a centurion of the band called the Italian band. Let's see what Caesarea is. Because in Acts 2, right, it said, right here, Parthians and Medes, Elamites, and dwellers in Mesopotamia and in Judea and Cappadocia and Pontus and Asia, Phrygia and Pamphylia in Egypt and in the parts of Libya about Cyrene, and strangers of Rome, Jews and proselytes. So let's see what Caesarea at. Caesarea. Nope. Caesarea. Let me go back to it. Let me pull it up. Hold on here. Let's do it like this. Let me go back and get the correct spelling. Where is it? Let's get there. Matter of fact, let me do this. Let's go here. I don't know why I didn't do this at first. Let's go to Acts 10. Let's just click on this. G. The Caesarea of Philippi, okay, was situated at the foot of Lebanon near the sources of Jordan. Okay, I'm wrong. Salakia. Caesarea of Palestine was built near the Mediterranean. Okay, so it's a Caesarea, name of two places in Palestine. Okay, I don't know why I'm thinking it was in Rome. So it's a Caesarea Philippi was situated at the foot of Lebanon near the sources of Jordan and formerly called Paneas, but afterward being rebuilt by Philip the Tetrarch, it was called by him Caesarea. I said Caesarea. That's probably why I kept saying it wrong on Google. Caesarea in honor, Salakia for that, and Tiberius Caesar, subsequently called Neranius by Agrippa II in honor of Nero. Okay, so Caesarea of Palestine was built near the Mediterranean by Herod the Great on the site of Strabo's Tower between Joppa and Dora. Was provided with a magnified honor, a harbor, and had conferred upon his name a Caesarea in honor of Augustus. It was the residence of Rome procurators, and the majority of its inhabitants were Greeks. Okay, so Salakia for that. It's in Palestine. Okay, so these are Cornelius was one of these so-called Greeks, man. Or one of these Israelites that was known as Greeks. Could say he was a devout man here, right here. It say Acts 10:7, and when the angel which spake unto Cornelius was departed, he called two of his household servants and a devout soldier of them that waited on him continually. So this devout soldier was a Jake too, man. Anyway, it's too much, man. It's too much evidence. It's too much evidence, man. So I just want to make the point. Going back to this, man. What was this? Romans 10:12. So like you for that. Moving a little slow here. So Romans 10:12. It reads. I don't know why I thought that was. I don't know. Well, I thought that was in Rome. For there is no difference between the Jew and the Greek. For the same Lord over all is rich unto all that call upon him. And they were saying on that when I was looking up the different articles that the reason is saying neither Jew nor Greek because it doesn't matter if you're a heathen or not. Yes, it do. Because these are Israelites, man. That's why I say there is no difference between the Jew and the Greek. Why is it not saying this during the Roman Empire, man? So why is it mentioning the Greeks in the Roman Empire? This is what I want to know. And this is something that I wish I could have asked her just to see the look on her face after everything we brought out. And then, at the end it's like, man, she had Edomites with her, so she had to defend them. She had some Edomites with her, so she was defending them. But why would the word Greek be in the New Testament? And the New Testament was during the time of Rome, man. It don't make no sense. But when you read in Romans 10, Romans 9, Paul talking to the Israelites, man. But anyway, I just want to stick to the point about the word Greek. When the original Greeks are the sons of Japhet. So, yeah, that's the point I want to make, man. Why Jew nor Greek in the Roman Empire, but not Jew and Roman in the Roman Empire? Why is the word Greek there, man? Because it ain't talking about the so-called white man. Because the so-called white man is not Greeks, man. They conquered the Greeks. The original Greeks are the sons of Japhet. And they conquered them, man. Going back to Javan in Genesis 10, one of the sons of Japhet, man. So anyway, I just want to make the points on that. I didn't mean to make this too long, Salakia. As a matter of fact, since now I looked that up, now I got to go back to this now. Because now I want to look and see about this Italian band, right? I'm going to get this word Italian band here. See what they say. This is why I said Rome. Okay, so, see? It's okay to say belonging to Italy, which I knew that, but guess I'm mixing the two because it said Caesarea, probably of foreign origin, Italy, a region of Europe, Italy. Right, so, see, this is why I get it twisted at. There was a certain man in Caesarea called Cornelius, a centurion of the band called the Italian band. So he was in the army in Italy, but his home was Caesarea. Yeah. I want to see if I can pronounce this right. Is that Caesar? Let me see here. Caesarea. See if I can get this pronounced. Pronunciation. They don't give it to me. They ain't gonna give it to me. City in Israel. Right. So I just got the two mixed up. I don't know why I'm thinking. Okay, here we go.
Caesarea.
Yeah, man. So, yeah, let me go back to this. Yeah. So, yeah. Even here we go. Line up with what the scriptures say, man. What was the origin of the Greeks according to the Bible? And it was Japhet, man. It wasn't a so-called white man. So why is the word Greek in the New Testament? Is it talking about the original Greeks, or is it talking about the so-called white man? Because we know that the so-called white man conquered them lands. When you go here to Joel 3, this is what the Lord said to Zidon, Salakia. Joel 3 and 4, yeah, and what have ye do with me, O Tyre and Zidon, and all the coasts of Palestine? Will you render me a recompense? And if you recompense me swiftly and speedily, will I return your recompense upon your own head? Because you have taken my silver and my gold, and have carried into your temples my goodly pleasant things. The children also of Judah and the children of Jerusalem have ye sold unto the Grecians, that ye may remove them far from their border. So who are these Grecians right here? Because this ain't talking about Japhet, the sons of Japhet. Who are these Grecians? The so-called white man. Zidon, when you look him up in Genesis, Zidon is one of the sons of Canaan. Ham had Canaan, and Canaan had Zidon. Zidon sold so-called Negroes, Jamaicans, and Haitians to the so-called white man. Right here, the children also of Judah and the children of Jerusalem have ye sold unto the Grecians, that ye may remove them far from their border. See? Behold, I will raise them out of the place whether you have sold them. That was here in America. And will return your recompense upon your own head. So right here, and then I was reading this another day too in Zechariah 9 and 12. Turn you to the stronghold, ye prisoners of hope. Even today do I declare that I will render double unto thee when I have bent Judah for me, filled the bow with Ephraim, and raised up thy sons, O Zion, against thy sons, O Greece, and made thee as the sword of a mighty man. Who is this Greece here? It's talking about the so-called white man. Just like in Joel 3. The enmity between the serpent and the woman. They go back to Genesis 3 and 15. That's why I tell you that in Revelations 12 and 17 that the dragon is wrought with the woman and went to make war with the remnant of her seed. It goes back to Genesis 3 and 15. It talk about the sons of Zion against the sons of Greece, man. The so-called white man. So when you go to the New Testament, you see it say neither Jew nor Greek. Them Greeks there's talking about either Judah, Benjamin, or Levi, man. One of those three tribes that was in captivity on the Babylonians. And the Babylonian captivity got transferred to the Medes and Persians empire. And the Medes and Persians captivity carried over to the Greeks, man. When the so-called white man conquered the original Greeks, conquered all those lands, conquered Rome, which was the original Greeks, the Japhetic people in them lands. And we was in captivity under the so-called white man. Come on, man. Matter of fact, let's prove it. We read in Daniel's 8 how Alexander took down Darius, right? This is First Maccabees 1 and 1. And it happened after that Alexander, the son of Philip, the Macedonian, who came out of the land of Shittim, had smitten Darius, king of the Persians and Medes, that he reigned in his stead, the first over Greece. Yeah. And made many wars, and won many strongholds, and slew the kings of the earth, and went through to the ends of the earth, and took spoils of many nations, insomuch that the earth was quiet before him, whereupon he was exalted, and his heart was lifted up. He went throughout the four corners out the known world conquering, till it wasn't nobody to even fight against no more, man. They conquered the Japhetic peoples and their lands and start calling themselves those people, man. This is history. Facts. Why is it facts? Because it's written in the Bible. Before that article ever popped up, before this article ever popped up, before the World Wide Web, the unicorn, the internet, which is Job 39, the World Wide Web, the internet is known as the unicorn in the Bible, before it was a internet. Before all that, the Lord told us, man, about these table of nations. We know this is just AI and them fact checking what the Lord already has said, man. That was written in the scriptures. Romans 15 and 4, the scriptures are written aforetime ago for our learning. That we, let's get that, through comfort and patience of the scriptures, not might. Now we got hope. Now we believe. Now we past belief. Now we know. Romans 15 and 4, for whatsoever things were written aforetime were written for our learning, that we through patience and comfort other scriptures might have hope. Yeah, because we know. So Lord was edifying. Give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahushua, Bahashim, Rekah, Kodash. Jabanos to the apostles, elder bishop, elders, a great millstone, who rule well, who teach well, who are the apostles and elders of all of Israel, whether accepted or not. In a sincere salutation to all the Akim believing this truth and pushing this truth, that the four ends of the earth, the entire world, shed light to those who elect. Shalom to the world who listen learning. You feel sister listen learning. 8th of tuning in. May Yahweh Bashim Yahweh continue bless you in your houses. May the blessing of the be upon your houses. Till next time I say shalom.